little too much. But I hope I put everything right. Okay, ready?
Yes, you're looking as beautiful as ever. Welcome to Asianet Newsable's new podcast. I'm absolutely thrilled to have a very special guest with us today. She is an accomplished actress, producer. She has also hosted television talk shows. She is none other than Lakshmi Manchu. She's known for her roles in both film and web series, not to mention both in Hollywood as well as Telugu cinema. She is also the daughter of legendary actor Mohan Babu. Now, Lakshmi, I'm going to call you Lama because if that's okay with you.
Please do. I love it. Yes, please do.
Yeah.
That's my Mumbai name.
Yeah, so because we are seeing you in a completely different avatar, not in that sense, like your authentic self is definitely the same, but you are in a new city, and definitely this is more full of life and a lot of buzz going on in Mumbai. So I just want to capture all of that. And starting with a very lighthearted question, how is Mumbai treating you? Tell us that.
I mean, I'll give you a view of where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
Ta-da! Look at that window.
Wow.
I mean, I have sunlight. Like, I see the sunrise and sunset. I know I used to live in, however, I lived in Hyderabad. But this kind of openness, right? Like when I wake up, I feel like I'm in some Airbnb, like with big windows, and it's like a dream come true, but the dream better than what I dreamt, truly, to be honest.
I
I had a
saw.
whole morning today, did 2 yoga classes, had breakfast with my friends, and still had time to do my hair and face, and here I am with you by 1 o'clock.
Yeah. So I saw this latest tour of yours, of your Mumbai house, and it is so lovely. I just saw like every bedroom has its own balcony, and it's so open and so full of sunlight and everything. But you're an example of someone who went through a very conservative family, very patriarchal society, and then you had this taste of freedom in US. How this transition happened? Just tell us in brief, like, because you must have had your own inner conflicts and challenges when you took this decision that you just want to move out of that.
Yeah, I mean, because when you're raised a certain way, you think that's the only way. We don't know what there is until we find our own wings and take our little baby steps. And America was that for me, and I was freaking out. I said, "What do you mean, do your own dishes and wash your own clothes and feed your food and make your own food?" I mean, I've had fire engines come home because the pressure cooker went off, like firefighters coming to my house because I didn't know how to fry papad properly. Like, I got on a call with the oil is on, and then it just engulfs fire, and it's not like concrete here. Wood there
Yeah.
takes off very quickly. Having said all that, I think within you there is that fire. If you're willing to feed it, it will guide you. It'll show you the light. But half the time we are trying to dim the fire within us and saying, "Yes, nahi hona chahiye. Let's just listen to them." Who is them? And once we start listening to the noise outside of us, then it is chaos, because you can never satisfy everybody. And if you think you can, then you need to be in an asylum, because that ain't happening for anybody. So how quickly are you willing to learn these lessons? And I was ready with a kite in my hand to fly off. And the second I got one smallest window, I just took my chance and took off. That really was my game plan, as you call it, which was really nothing.
Was anybody else involved in that game plan, like your close friends? I think you were very small when you went to US, right?
Yes, I had a lot of people who from Hyderabad were doing masters in the same college. So I just said, "Listen, you got," like, I had like 7, 8, 10 people. You know how they used to come to India and pick people and go, and Hyderabad had consultancy like that would take a lot of people to this particular university. So I called a bunch of my friends and they were like, okay, I know someone at the international student office. It was very organic. And when your intention is right, Hina, you might not have the answers, but the doors just open for you. Like even Bombay, it's something that I've been thinking for many, many years. Many years, like from the second I moved to India. But I was too afraid. Like I was dimming that desire, saying, nahi ho sakta hai, Papa is here, Mama is here, I'm having a child, I can't do this, I can't do that. But one morning I woke up and said, I'm ready. And what do I need to do? I need to find an apartment, I need to find a school for my daughter. I mean, there are stories, there are memes, there are reels about how you can't find a place in Bombay, which is all true.
Yeah.
But look what I landed within a week. So that, and it was so clear because it didn't come with any doubt. It was like, my fire was like, I don't know why I have the analogy of fire today, but we'll stick with that.
Yeah.
And I was ready to, really ignite that part of me to being here. And out of the 3 schools I went for Nirvana, she got into 2 of them, and I was very, very excited and happy. And, here I am. I think when we went to school and now that they are going to school, there is a sea of a difference. So you can't even compare with our education to what these kids are getting. What I'm paying for, first we'll start there. What I'm paying for her per yearly, I don't think my dad paid for my entire education from first to 12th grade, the world has opened up in terms of education, but for me it's just not that, right? It is the environment that you're bringing up your child in. And Hyderabad just got a little too entitled for her. Like people recognize her. I mean, people give me the phone and say, "Can I take a picture with your daughter?" So suddenly she's like, "I'm gone," and I'm like, "Sister, hang on," and that's not you, it's me, But it's very difficult to teach that, right? So me moving to Bombay was one of one of those reasons where for me raising my child with humility and being humble is number one priority. Okay, she should be able to go in a train and in a first class with no qualms about it. So even for me, I can sleep on the floor and and have the ultimate luxury and be okay with both. And so in that sense, I really want to embark on a journey with her where she's comfortable everywhere rather than just the education system. So now that you're going further, I want to put her in London or in Europe for her middle school until she graduates her 12th grade. Because right now, I don't believe in giving them money. I don't believe in giving them whatever it is that they are looking for in terms of material world. All I can give her is knowledge and open the blinders out for her to make this world a playground. And that's where I think as a mother I am more inclined towards, rather than ye kya ban jayegi, doctor or engineer.
When I asked you what it took for you to actually leave India and move to the United States, now I want to know the other side of the picture as well. What was that which actually landed you back in India? I know you talk about this story of wedding and all, but I am pretty sure that it must have been such a big and difficult decision for you.
Yeah, it still is, I have to wake up and say, this is my choice now. Because when I did come here, it wasn't a choice. I was like, I'm going to be here for a couple of months and go back. What really made me stay back is my house burned down in America. And when I was trying to make the decision, oh my God, I'm getting work here. I've always, in my vision board written that I want to be a bridge between America and India, and take movies from here or there and vice versa. And when I was really making that decision, and when a house burnt down, I was like, okay, I guess I'm staying here a little longer. And then wanting to have a child happened. And there is no way I would have changed any of that, because living in America while you have a child is I'm sorry if I'm being too harsh, but it is like the soul leaves your body, because I've seen my best friends, like they're zombies for the first 3 years in terms of doing their diapers, feeding them, trying to get some sleep, and getting that. Like here, I do it on a phone call. I give my child to my nanny when I'm when I'm able to work with 100% concentration, where it's not like, is she in the crib? Is she okay? Is she like that anxiety that most, I can only talk about Americans because I lived in America. I don't know how well the system is in other parts of the world, but it is not fun. And then, yes, they find a system, they find some kind of routine to figure all this out, but it's bloody hard. Here, when I wake up, my breakfast is ready. I'm able to send her garam garam khana from home every day. These are luxuries. I mean, she didn't like the food in her school, so she was complaining. And so I was making food in the morning and sending it to her. And she would bring back the food saying, Mama, I didn't feel like eating it. It got too cold. And it used to, I'm like, I'm spending lakhs in her education and I'm not able to give her khana at the right time, Now I send her food every day. Zepto, not Zepto, sorry, Dangzo, Zindabad. But these are little things and it doesn't cost too much. Compared to, imagine me trying to do this in America, it's like selling your kidney, So there are so many perks in terms of me raising and wanting a family that couldn't have happened with so much softness if I wasn't here.
Now, when you came back to India and you started doing work, you started doing talk shows and later acting and producing, we do know that you have this name and fame attached of your father to you, and you have your own identity which you've built yourself through hard work and determination, zeal, and all of that. But when you are on a set, initially, I'm talking about the initial days when you're all alone on a set, did you ever feel like you have been treated wrongly, or did you feel like the industry is male dominated? I'm asking you because I want to follow up. I have a follow up question, and I want your comments on the Hema Committee Report, which recently released and alleges a lot of sexual harassment towards actor in the Malayalam film industry. What do you have to say about that?
No, I have never been misbehaved on any of the sets because of the family that I come from. I will be lying if I said no, ये बहुत difficult था. बहुत difficult ये था कि काम बहुत difficult. The way I was raised to, being on sets is from morning till night with lights and dust and allergies, and you can't, there are no sick leaves, when you're an actor. You show up and ice your face, blow your nose, take that extra whatever medication you need to, but you need to show up because a lightman has a fever, there is another lightman that can come over. You can replace anybody other than the actors who are in front of the camera, so you really can't have that. A director has like 5 ADs, like he can say, I'm dying, do this much today, but an actor can't do that, so that was very hard, but I loved it. I love what I do, so I don't really complain about it. Now, coming to the Hema report, Hina, I have a lot to say about it. First and foremost, I want to applaud the women who came out and said, yes, this does happen. Second of all, I want to applaud the Malayalam government for backing this and bringing this up. I also want you to know this is a committee that's been going on for 2 years. Now, and then I'll tell you where my problem is, where everybody's just focusing on Malayalam industry. You're telling me it's not there in Bollywood. I'll finish. You're telling me it's not there in Bollywood or in the Bengal film industry or Kannada film industry or Telugu film industry, or for that matter in an IT industry, or in whatever industry you take over. Indra Noori talked about she being the only woman and trying to pursue and do these things, but she had the support of her family and her education system very strong In spite of that, she faces, I'm not saying sexual harassment, but harassment of some sort. Now, if you really look at global leaders who are women, they look more masculine than very feminine, unless you're running a beauty company, right? Why aren't they clad? Why aren't they more in touch with their feminine side, but has to have to bring out their masculine side? Because that's what the world listens to. On a large part, we are run on a patriarchal society, not just in India, but in the world over. Yeah, there are few and far in between societies that are matriarchal, but that are so tiny, we don't really speak about it as much as like we should be. So my problem comes in when they say what's happening in the Malayalam film industry. I'm like, what's happening in the IT industry? What's happening in the police world? What's happening in the, there are sexual favors that are asked from men or women who are in power and in fame and who they think are subordinates. So let's just not focus on men or just on women. Let's just focus on a healthy working environment, no matter what the industry is. And that conversation needs to come into play. Like even somebody in Telugu was talking to me and said, in Malayalam film industry, and I had to stop her right there. I said, it's easy for you to say Malayalam film industry. The people in the north are saying in the south industry. How will you take it then? And then she had nothing to say. So we need to be very careful in how we term this and how we are keeping the dialogue alive rather than just making it about one industry in one place. It happens everywhere. And it's time that we discuss and keep the conversation alive, saying that ये वहाँ हो रहा है, यहाँ भी हो रहा है क्या? वो बात तो हम नहीं बात कर रहे हैं. We're just, it's happening there. So we love pointing fingers. So that I feel that's happening more than looking within and saying, hey, I'm working in this industry. Let me open my eyes out a little more. Can I really perceive this where I am working, or am I gaslighting myself कि ये हमारा साथ नहीं हो रहा है? Which I doubt.
Now, when you talk about a comprehensive work environment, you're saying that it has to be healthy and everything. As an actor also, sometimes you have to extend your shifts and work long hours. Does this ever, come down heavily on you? Because yesterday there was a report of 26-year-old girl who died due to work pressure, allegedly due to work pressure. So these kind of reports, these are very disturbing. How do you perceive the overall work environment in your in entertainment industry per se?
So I just came out of something that I was working on where it was 17-hour working days. Okay, so there were cameras everywhere, 17-hour working days in a desert with menial working conditions. Like we had to fight for a toilet, we had to fight for our food to come on time, we had to but that's what I signed up for. That is what it takes to the company that I am working for. I always have a choice. He's saying, not my deal, let me find a softer offer. Is basically, let's break it down. Overworked means overwhelmed. Overwhelmed means not able to handle the stress that is given to you, which means directly associated with mental health. The larger picture here is saying, guys, even yesterday I put up a bunch of stories saying I don't feel like doing anything today. Anything at all. But really, that don't feel like anything gave me strength from the people that not that they are calling me and saying, but just knowing that there are so many million people just caring about me. That's the way I look at it on the followers on my social media. To say, ki, I don't feel like doing anything and make that okay. So I was reading something, I went to the gym anyway, and I scrubbed my face. Like these were things that felt like I did a lot today. I put a face scrub and I put all the creams that I'm supposed to do. These are little things, okay? It doesn't seem like a lot, but these are things that are moving me out of the place where I feel stuck in. And I am not ashamed to say I have multiple people that I talk to. I have my spiritual gurus, I have my self healing mentors, I have, I have my yoga teachers, I have my therapists, psychologists that I talk to. I'm a mother now. I'm not going to sit here and wallow in my self pity and become a victim, because there is no saving a victim, right? So, and being in India, there are so many tools for you to master your mind and your health and yourself. I would feel more sorry for people in the Western world than in the Eastern world, because you have so much that you can hold on to: meditation, yoga, breath work, self healing. We taught the rest of the world, and it breaks my heart that how Western we've become, that work pressure has to kill us. So, the larger picture here, rather than saying she was overworked, if she really knew how to handle her mental health, she would say, screw this job, I can get 100 more. My health is more important than taking this extreme step. This is so important because India is the first place that kills itself for random stuff like this. It's as random as it sounds. 8th grade mein class marks nahi aaya. What do you know about life and death for you to kill yourself? What is the pressure that an 8th grade student is feeling to think that they have no life but to kill themselves?
How do you prepare for your characters? Because you're this one actress who hasn't been typecasted. Like, okay, so she does this kind of roles only. You have this diverse portfolio and you've done different kinds of roles. How do you approach these characters?
I don't approach, I just say no to something I've done before. Because even, see, when I started doing talk shows, I set the precipitate, like I set the standard to how talk shows are done. Everybody followed me with the format I did also. I would laugh at them saying, really, guys, you couldn't think of another format? Like it had to be similar things. But I'm glad I was able to do that. And then my problem is, Hina, I get bored too quickly. What next? What next? What next? I need to learn how to stay with one thing and be happy. Now I am. I've arrived. I have another great talk show idea that nobody has ever done it and nobody can do it like I would. And then I'm like, okay, usse settle ho jaungi main apni life mein with that one talk show. I could do that for the rest of my life. I was just getting bored of talking to the same kind of people in the same, pocket of people. I wanted to explore and experiment. And, if you're from Telugu, people want only Telugu. If you want Tamil, they want only Tamil. So I'm like, no, yaar, I'm not from India. I'm not from the world. I'm from the universe. So don't typecast me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I keep saying, I'm a circle that you trying to fit me in a box, in a square. Never going to fit, with two different shapes. So that global appeal where I can connect to human beings rather than one particular sect or culture, or you won't believe right now I just got a call before our conversation. There are some club elections that are happening in Hyderabad, one of the club. So a particular person called me to ask for their vote, and I said, but then you've been in this place for so long, why are you doing it independently? They said, oh, Amma, because our caste people are too many, so they're not giving me a higher position, so I'm standing independently. This is in Hyderabad Film Nagar, Jubilee Hills.
Yeah.
What are you and I talking, Hina? Really? That is where the real people are. So for me, I want to break those stereotypes and be able to communicate. And I know the kind of people who relate to me and who are who empathize with me and who can see what I'm saying are very few and far in between. But those are the people that I want to engage with and empower each other in our journey forward. One life, I don't know if it's there tomorrow or not. So I want to be able to do the best I can in the way that I know today.
You have your NGO.
Absolutely. That's my little baby. I'm never tired of talking about it. We started with one school saying, chalo, we'll make one model school. And then I realized you can't do this. You can't replicate it into lakhs and lakhs of schools in all over India. India has really turned around and built a lot of government school in the last 20 years. A big section of our students in our children in India go to these government schools. But what has happened is we have very minimal, um, how do I put it? There's hardly anything that the schools offer. You know, they have a place with a roof on, but really, how much are they able to educate with 18% of the world's population living in India, right? And most of us live in rural India, where Bombay is just one chitku compared to all of India. Having said that, I said, okay, we are always complaining about the government, what they are not doing, but how are we supporting the government in what they can do? And that's when I came up with the idea of the only thing that Vidya Dan is the only Dan that you can't take back, you know, and it's something you give and it empowers. So I guess, you know, education found me rather than me finding the field of education. So we go into government schools and teach English and leadership qualities for primary education, being third, fourth, and fifth grade, because that is when the biggest dropout of schools happen after the fifth grade. If we can really give them some hope for their future, they continue to study so. And having said that, it's a voluntary-based program. We have different verticals in it. One of the other verticals is now that we are aggressively going forward is with our smart classroom. So as I talk to you about environment, we go into the schools and pick up one classroom and paint all the walls with caricatures and animals, and you know, create an environment of study rather than seeping, you know, water and unpainted walls. And then we give them low-lying tables so they can sit comfortably, carpet the floor, and give them a television with the curriculum, train the government school teachers in our program, have a baseline, midline, endline analysis of the program that we are teaching them. And, you know, I can send you a couple of videos for you to see what we
Yeah,
do.
definitely. Yeah.
And it's just a really, you know, it's taken a life of its own. You know, when you give birth to a child or you put a seed, more than a child, when you put a seed in soil, you don't know what kind of a plant or a tree or a shrub, or is it going to die. But the seed is all I did. It's turning out to be a banyan tree. So I'm just taking care and nourishing it and making sure it's getting its right sunlight and the soil is right, because it's growing more than I ever expected it to go. So now, as we speak, we touch over 76, 400 and I forget the last two digits, students directly from our NGO Teach for Change. So every year we wish to grow, you know, deeper, and I really like to work in the tribal districts and the Anganwadi districts, because in the cities and the 2-tier and 3-tier, somehow or the other, some money trickles down, but it's really in the Anganwadi and the tribal districts that they're completely, they don't even exist to the rest of India. But if we can, I don't think I'm changing the entire village or the entire school, but if I can ignite one student with what we do, that student will take care of coming back and taking care of his or her own village. So that's my agenda.
All right. Thank you so much, Lama, for speaking with us. It was great chatting with you, and we hope to have another conversation pretty soon.
I look forward to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.